Hi all, hope I'm here now. I had a few problems trying to get on again. My fault, I had to shout my son down. I can't do it by myself. So let's have a look. Hi B, hi Lady Knight, hi Miss Honey. Hope you can all hear and see me okay. I'll just wait a second, just to make sure you can hear and see me okay. I tell you, I'm useless at all this technology. It's a good job I've got a son. Can you hear me okay? Hi B. So am I coming through nice and clear? I didn't realise there were so many lives going on tonight. I sort of scheduled it for another time. Hi Singing Moon. You can hear me, that's good. That's good. Yeah, you can hear. That's all right then. And the picture's clear enough, is it? Good, good. So I come on tonight to talk about past lives. I know it's not everybody's cup of tea, but it's something that takes a lot of my time up and something I enjoy doing. How many of you in here are interested in other past life kind of things? This is one thing I'm going to get used to. It takes a little while to the thingy coming through. So you're saying hi to the Artistry of Tarot. I can't even see the Artistry of Tarot showing up on my thing. You do, Lady Knight. Yeah. Haven't you got that past life deck? That that one that was an indie deck. I haven't got it. I can't remember what it's called. Was it you who I saw had that? You have too as well, Miss Honey, and you too, Singing Moon. Yeah, I always have been as well, Miss Honey, and I can't tell you where it comes from. It's just, it seems to always have been one of these things that I've always believed in, knew was true, and was really interested in. I don't know when it started, how it started, but it's always been there. Hi, Jen. Lovely to have you here. We're talking about past lives tonight, Jen. I don't know if you're interested in that sort of thing. Same here, Miss Sunny. Yeah, it's strange, isn't it? You just sometimes you just know these things, but you don't know how or why. You've never done a past life reading, but I'm always interested in something new. That's Artistry of Tarot. Yeah. It's something I do quite regular. I do like to. I don't just do it with my tarot cards and that. I've actually had a regression as well. I did want to do a 2-year course on it, but then I started having my problems with my eyes, and it was so expensive I couldn't afford to sign up and then not be able to do it. But it was a year doing hypnotherapy. Hypnosis, and then a year training to do the past life. Jen says she's never done one because I've never known how, but super interested. I used to pass a local church when I was little and insisted I once lived there. It's strange, isn't it, Marcenia? We have these, it's like we have these memories. We don't know where they come from, but we do have these memories. It's like me growing up. I always had this really interest in the north of England, Newcastle and Durham and all that way, and I had no idea, you know, Catherine Cookson books. I was reading them at the age of sort of like 11 and 12, and it was just some area that really, really fascinated me. And it wasn't until I was in my mid-20s when I was doing my family tree that my grandmother, her mother's side of the family, all came from that area. It was really strange. I talked a bit about my experience with the Art History Tarot workbook. The 21-day workbook is in my last recap video. I shall have to watch that later tonight because, yeah, you did get a book with that, didn't you? Hi there. I just see you pop up there. John, I hope you're well. Yeah, you love Catherine Cookson too, Ricard. Yeah, I love it. Right, so the way, I mean, how many of you here have actually done a regression, had a regression done to them, and actually been regressed into a past life. I've had one. And I have spoken about that on the channel, and that's where I had a past life with my brother. So has any others had experience with a regression? Miss Honey says, I'd love to see how you feel if you ever visit Greenwich Open Air Museum. So many energies. I'll bet it'll be wonderful. I've been to, I've not been to Norfolk. I keep saying to my husband, I need to walk around the streets of Newcastle and Durham. And it was something that was on our to-do list, and I really must go and do that. My mum's family lived there for centuries. It goes back a long time at that area. You haven't had that Singing Moon, nor you, Miss Honey. And you haven't either, Lady Night. You have you, B? You've had it done at the Spiritual Society of GB. How did you find it? Did you find it interesting? Did it kind of leave that kind of mark on you and how it's affecting your life in the present day? How about you, John? Is it something you're interested in? It was scary, B, was it? Why was it scary? Was it just the thought that you was here before, or that the things that they said kind of made sense? I mean, I just find it all fascinating. Nothing scares me, not really, I must admit, but I just find it really fascinating. Thank you. Thank you. Cup of tea. You're looking at?
The chat.
Oh, yeah. That's my husband being nosy at the chat.
Being nosy at the chat.
Yeah. A bit of both. Yeah. I know the one that I had really left me fascinated, and I wanted to know more. That's my problem. I don't know with you, Miss Honey, and Lady Night, and that, and everyone else who does them. Does it leave you wanting to know more? It's always kind of left me sort of never being satisfied. I always want to have more information, more about that particular lifetime. If I ever went to regression therapy, I'd be more worried about not being able to see anything and having paid for nothing. Yeah, because it's not cheap, is it? It isn't cheap. I have been, there is a book that I got on Audible. I can't think what it was called. Let me have a look, because I've got my iPad here. Yeah, I want to know it all. Let me have a look, see if I can find it on my Audible. And I was listening to this book, and this was quite fascinating. Audible. Find me Audible. Give me in a sec. I just want to try and see if I can find this, and I can never find the app. No, that's my Kindle. Books. Oh, crikey. I will find out. There we go. Just go to my library. Yeah, I got this Audible, and I think this one was free, actually. I don't think I even needed a credit for it. It's called The Hypnotherapy Past Life Regression by Centre of Excellence, narrated by Jane Branch. That was really fascinating. She learned you how to do past life hypnosis. Oh, you know what I mean, hypnosis. She talks you through it in that, and discusses it and explains how it works and everything on that. It was really interesting. You've got a book by Dr. Brian Wise. I haven't read it yet. Yeah, he's the one who did Last Past Life Oracle with DV. Yeah, I've got this here. This one. No, which one we're going? Yeah, this one. That's the one that he did with it, wasn't it? I've seen quite a few YouTube things about him. Yes, I'm the same Singing Moon. Once I've got a I've done a past life reading, then I will go off and try to research the area. The hardest one that I found to do was a past life I had in Tibet. That was really hard to try and find anything. Hi, Naomi. Lovely to drop by. We're talking about past lives, Naomi. I don't know if that's something that you're interested in. Phoenix cards. I don't think I've seen Phoenix cards, Miss Honey. This is, I don't know if everybody, I should assume everybody's seen these cards. I'll take them out. To be honest, I don't use these ones a great deal. These aren't the ones, but I do like to pull the odd ones. There we go. I assume most of you have seen these. I'm going the right way. Yeah, I'm trying to get better at this. This way. Who's got these, and how do you find them when you use them? What about you, Miss Honey? How do you find these? Wrong way. There we go. This one is Monk or None, I think. Yeah. Yeah, this is the past life one, B. This is the one by, well, it says Doreen Virtue and Brian Wise, but I would say Doreen Virtue didn't have a lot to do with it. I wouldn't have thought. I would say a name was just added onto it to sell it. Have you got this one, Lady Night? In French, but I find them a bit limiting. Yeah, me too. Yeah. Yeah, I find them a bit limiting, but they're quite good just to add on sometimes. Sometimes I've got them out just to add on. What about you, Miss Honey? You said you had these, didn't you? Not used them very much now. No. Like I said, I do have them, and I do pull them occasionally, and I wouldn't get rid of them because they do have their uses. But the one that I use the most is this one. Oh, if I can just... This one, Awakening Far Memory. Yes, it's good to use alongside the tarot. Yeah, that's what I tend to use them for. Has anybody got this one, The Awakening or Far Memory? This one by who's it by? Gourmet Publishers. John Anthony West, author of Serpent in the Sky and Lecture Guide and the originator of the Age of the Sphinx. That's who's written this one. The glare on the cards, yeah, there will be. Hi, Claire. It's because they're glossy cards, so you don't have those. These ones are like a system that you don't need to use anything else with. Supposedly, you can get a full reading with just this deck. And I have done one, I would admit, I have done one or two just using these. You don't have any, Jen. These are all like mass market. You get a good hard book with this. Oh, and it does explain quite a bit in there about the areas and the time periods and stuff. But the cards come in different sections. So you get like this section here. This one, these ones tells you how you died. So this one says starvation. This one says starvation. And this one says in war. This one says attack, suicide, accident. So there's loads of different ways that you could have died, what these cards have. Hi, Cosmic Witch. You saw the walkthrough, did you? Yeah, that's why I think you need to use tarot with these as well. Even though they say that you can get a full thingy, I find that you need to use tarot as well. I use these to bump up my tarot. I'll kind of use it as a shell, if you know what I mean. This way. This is like the life lessons, what you was here to learn in this lifetime. So this one is like freedom. And then you get other sections like this one, which is the kind of area that you lived in. So this is like mountain, and then it's got things like, what's this one? Oh, I can't remember city. So it tells you countries in another one of the thingies and what sort of job you did. So they're quite. They do say that you can get a full reading, and I have tried one or two, but I tend to find that they work better if you use them as a shell and then build up with the tarot. Art History of Tarot. So yeah, I use the Art History Past Life Tarot together with the Stretch Tarot, best PLR ever. Yeah, that Art of History one is one that I've wanted, but it's not available obviously in the UK. It's a indie deck, isn't it? So time I've put all the prices and that on, it works out really expensive. But I just tend to use, as you know, my Stretch Tarot. I use this one for past lives as well as ancestors. And this one is ideal for past lives, I think. I mean, you've all seen me use this, I would say. Oh. But I think with this and with the other oracles, that you can get a really good reading with them. Yeah, the Stretch Tarot, it's lovely. Yeah, it's only available from the creator. Yeah. I think I did look before Lady Night, and I think it was going to cost me something like £75–80 to get it delivered to me here in the UK. This has reminded me of the book Past Life and Karmic Tarot, Adaine McCoy. I've never heard of that one. Somebody did send me a link of a book the other day that he said had some really good spreads in, some past life spreads. Because I've only really found that one that I use to be quite a good one. The other ones I've not found to be particularly very helpful. So he sent me this link. I can't get them back in the tuck box. I don't like tuck boxes. He sent me the link to this book, which he said had some really good spreads in. But there is some on the internet, and I have been trying some of those out, but I just don't seem to get such a good reader out of them ones than that one that I originally started with. Or you use it, Stretch Tarot, for general readings, do you, Miss Annie? Get the 21-day workbook on Amazon for £15 and might be able to use it with the Stretch Tarot. Oh, you can get the workbook on Amazon, can you? I thought you had to get that from the creator as well. Oh, that might be worth looking into. What's it called again? Because I've got headlights here, but I'll be able to look it up after. Is it a good work? Is it a good workbook? Is it worth paying the £15 to get? Is there some good, work things to do in there? I've never used Stretch Tarot, Miss Honey, for anything other than past lives or ancestors. That is the reason why I bought it, and I've kind of stuck to that. You love the workbook, so it's well worth the £15 then. Does it set out things to kind of do as you're going through the book? Like different exercises and that kind of thing. Miss Honey, Lady Night was saying that it was called. You see it above. Yeah. She has the actual tarot deck, because there is a creator who's made a tarot deck specifically for past lives, and she puts time frames and everything on there. I bet you can also use it just as a tarot, but it's an indie deck. You have 21 spreads over 21 days, different aspects of one life. Really cool. Oh, that sounds really interesting. I'll have to have a look. Is that on Amazon UK? I'll have to have a look afterwards and see if it's on there. Past Lives Workbook, 21 Days to Understand Yourself by Red Orchid Publishing. Thanks for that. I'll have to have a look. So all of you that have had these readings or do readings for yourself, have you got any what is kind of has been really memorable? Yes, Amazon UK. Thank you. I'll have a look after. I thought that I had to get it from the publisher, you know, the creator. No, it's not Naomi. Let me make you a moderator and then you can put links on, I think. I think it's only moderators who can put links on. I'm just going to go on here. 1 sec. Oh, better turn it down first. Mm-hmm. Right, Naomi, I've just added you as a moderator, so you should be able to add links now, because I think it's only people who are moderators who can add links. Yeah, I thought you could. I thought it was only moderators who could. I mean, if for those who are interested on how I use my tarot card and that in past life spreads or ancestor spreads, there is some on the channel already. It's quite a big spread, so it's quite in depth to go into, just to kind of just talk about what the positions are. But on the actual videos, I do kind of tell you what the positions are as I'm laying the cards and telling you how I see the cards. Yeah, it sounds good, Miss Honey, doesn't it? Yeah, it does. Thank you, Naomi, for doing that. Or is that a different one? Is it? That's another one that I can look at, though. Have you how many actual past lives have you worked on fully? I mean, I've done quite a few readings, but I think there's only 2 or 3 that I've really studied deeply with and kind of gone right into it. I mean, that 2 of the past lives that I've done, my death was always by water, and I've been terrified of water all my life, scared the hell out of me. But that would kind of explain. Yeah, it is Lady Night. Yeah, I knew that she'd got them. Lady Night, am I okay to make you a moderator? Then you can probably put the link of those cards as well if you got the link for them, if that's all right. 5 different ones. Was they all similar or was they all completely different, Lady Night? Oh, 1 second, and I'll. I've made you moderator, Lady Night, so if you don't mind putting them links on. But those lives, was there any sort of similarities between them, or was they all completely different? Mine seemed to have a theme. What about you, Miss Honey? Yes, same as me. Yeah, same as me, Lady Night. What about you, Miss Honey? How many have you been able to kind of work through? Just gonna have to drop them a tea. I'm talking on here. Yeah, thank you for that, Lady Knight. I'll have a look after. I just need to save up to get that deck, but it is quite expensive, I think, to get to the UK. I suppose, Miss Honey, any kind of cards would be fine to use with past lives. If you feel they could work for you, then they could work with you. But yeah, they would actually probably make good ones. I haven't got them with me. They're probably in the other room. But yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if they could, because they've got them kind of old names in them as well, haven't they? Like things that you don't see nowadays. Naomi, there is some spreads on my channel, Past Life, what I do with my tarot cards. I always use the stretch tarot, but you can use any tarot. I just like these because of the images. They're very oldie style, but you could that one's quite a large spread, but you can actually find spreads online, past life spreads, and then just choose a deck to work with. But I tend to like the ones that are quite old looking images, because it kind of sparks something. But there's so many different decks out there of different eras, do you know what I mean, that you could use. But like Miss Honey said, the gypsy cards, they would be actually quite a good deck to use because of the images on them. Yeah, that would be a good idea, Lady Knight. I never thought of that. Yeah, that would be a good idea. But then I'd need to know what was on every card, wouldn't I? And I probably wouldn't know. Keywords from the guidebook. I mean, yeah, that's a good idea. I never thought of that. That may be one way. I've had that many decks laying around. But yeah, also, Naomi, you can actually get decks specifically for past lives. If you wanted to buy one just for past lives, I mean, anything from the Doreen Virtue one right up into the one that Lady Knight's talking about. No, I haven't. I don't know nothing about Phoenix cards, Claire. Miss Honey mentioned them. She has them. She has them, so she could probably, thingy with you, because I've not seen them. Maybe you could tell me about them, because like I said, I've never even heard of them, and there can be something I can look at. Oh, it's just £10, is it, Lady Knight of Admin? Wow. Phoenix cards. Yeah, I'll have to remember that. I don't even know what they are. Can somebody explain? Yeah, the Doreen Virtue deck is out of print, but you can get them on Amazon and that for quite cheap. But obviously, they're not the real ones, are they? Not at that price. But because they're selling them that cheap, it will knock the prices of these down, I would say. Been around for years, not that good, to be honest. Not really good enough to do past lives. I've never heard of them, to be fair. But I like the system of the RWS because if that's what system you use, but any system that you're used to would do. But the Naomi, there's so many spreads on YouTube, I suppose, as well as on Google, that you can look up, and it tells you all the placements and this where you put them and what that particular card is in question is about, just like any kind of spread. And I do find when you do past lives, you have to use your intuition quite a lot, rather than the card meanings and the images on the cards. You wouldn't buy them again. The way you work is better. You prefer working with like the tarot and whatever, and using that intuitive, yeah. Not looked at them for years. They look more at times than anything else. I'll have to get those gypsy cards out, Miss Honey, and try them with that, because that I never actually thought of those. That is one that I want, Singing Moon, the Arthurian Tarot. Yeah, I can imagine that would work really, really well. But they give you selected countries here is not a big deal. I guess that no one can really tell you. No, like I say, no. Hi, Wendy. I'm still on. I'm just talking about past lives, mate. Yeah, like Lady Knight said, you can also make your own spreads. Just think on different topics and break those down into what you want to know. Yeah. I find that one that I use is quite broad, but if there's anything else that I want to add, I'll very often, if I want to get a country, I'll very often go to my oracles to get a country or a kind of area. And the same for anything else that I feel is missing from the tarot reading, then I'll drag them out and pull them out. And then I just build on it. I just kind of build up a picture around that. So what eras have you come up with, those of you that have done it? What sort of time periods are we talking about? Like I said, there's been one that I got was Tibetan, and that was really hard to try and find anything to do with that, but that must have been a few centuries ago from what the sort of things I was getting from that. But my latest one seems to have been the First World War. That seemed, well, not apart from a pleasant one, obviously. But yeah, the First World War seems to be the last one before this one. Hi, Claire. Just drinking my tea while it's still warm. Lady Knight says, I had one around maybe 1600s, a few with no timeline, and the one I'm looking into now is from the 1800s. Yeah, I'm not quite sure this one is Tibet, but I know that one of them was definitely the First World War. And I think a couple that I've done have been linked. It seems to have been around the same time period. But I've just got to try and link them together because I do think that they was linked. How about you, Miss Honey? What sort of time period? Do you know the time period yours was? As soon as I get off here, you do know I'm going to go and order this workbook and whatever, and I'm going to have to tomorrow pull out my gypsy cards and see how I get on with those. Because I never thought of using them, Miss Honey. That was a good idea. 1800s for you, Singing Moon, and I'm just looking into 1920s for my daughter. That would have been such a good period to live in, wouldn't it? The 1920s. See, my daughter, I've shown one of my daughters how to do it, and she actually done. It was really strange. She done one reading after mine, and they seemed to link together. She seemed to. Her storyline of her past life was the same as mine, but it was like she was the daughter in this lifetime and I was the mother. But they both interlinked really, really well. So that lifetime we must have had a shared life. But I do think that as family members, we do share lives together anyway, as your soul family. What do you think about that? Do you believe in that, or do you believe that each lifetime is different? But I mean, for me, I do believe that we share it with the same people. More feeling you as a nurse. I often feel as though I had a nursing background in previous life, which influenced me to become a nurse again. And Claire 5 says, why are so many people fascinated with the Tudor era? The Tudor era was one that I wasn't, well, not yet, I haven't anyway, but maybe that was a time period that there was a lot of lives. I think we have a soul family. Yeah, me too, Lady Knight. What sort of questions do you ask the tarot to narrow down your past lives? I have got quite a few, well, I'll say quite a few, 2 or 3, I think, on my channel, Miss Cosmic Witch, that I have sort of walked through. But the first one's usually about whether we're male or female. I'm just trying to think roughly what the question, what my early life was, my older life, sort of teen life, old age, what was my family life like, what was my spirituality, what was the era like at the time, what could it tell me about the era of the time, what was the fears of the era of the time, and what was the joys of that era at the time, all them kind of questions. But they are all set out in my videos. I remember on my first ward appraisal, I was 19, the ward sister saying I was an old soul and wise beyond my years and experience. Yeah. So I would say that you were definitely a nurse. I just can't get my head around how I'd know time periods, different places, etc. when geography and history are the 2 subjects I've never really focused on. Like I said, sometimes, Jen, it's just the replies that you get, especially when you're asking about different time periods, like in what the what was going on at that time and that point of time. And usually you can kind of sometimes, not always, and that's why sometimes you don't get no time periods. But there is a deck out there that Lady Night has that does include time periods on those cards. I think that's quite well well written and what have you. The cards, they give you more than one answer on each card. I mean, I haven't looked 100% into it, but the ones that I did see, they looked really interesting, and they was created by somebody who works in past lives. Yeah, I bet, Miss Sunny. But don't you find that sometimes people say things to you, or something happens, and then it all makes sense later on? Lady Night says you get reborn. That's gone. You get reborn among the same souls you shared another life with your child. Could have been my parent or sibling. Yeah, I remember my daughter always used to say to that when she was little, when I was your mum and you was my daughter. She used to say that to me all the time. Hey, Becca. So, Jen says, thanks, Patsy. I think I've always overthought the whole process, hence why not having done one yet. Yeah, I think you can overthink things. And I think the best thing to do is just to lay out the cards, answer the questions, and then just see what falls into place. And you'd be surprised what comes up just by looking at the cards. And when you go back to it and you reread what's written down and what has you, and you'd be surprised what you do come up with. It's really, really interesting. Yeah, there's the deck that Lady Night has, but that is an indie deck, I think from America. Hi Becca, lovely to see you. We're talking about past lives, Becca, because sometimes past lives are better than the ones we're living in, mate. I'm going to have to get that book, and when I get it, Lady Night, I'll have to let you know, and I will do what you suggested and try that. But I'm going to have to try them ones what you suggested, Miss Honey, and get them out, because they're actually a deck that I don't use. I use Melanormand and I use my Kipper, but the Gypsy cards I kind of just leave there. I don't really use them often, but that could be actually a really good way of incorporating them with the tarot. It seems such a big thing to do, perhaps why I've all kind of avoided it despite interest. So what's your thoughts, Becca, on past lives? Is it something you're interested in? I think if you have an RWS deck, you could take out all the court cards and try to narrow down who you were and then take it from there. Yeah, I think you're right, Lady Night. I mean, sometimes I do a tarot spread and it leaves more questions than it answers. But when that's the case, I just add more questions to it, and I just whatever I feel is missing from it, I will just ask the questions. And once they're all written down, then I'll just carry on and pull other cards and just ask what I need to know to kind of fill in the gaps that I feel is missing. You've never done a past life reading, Becca. Thinking of going live after yours, Becca, but I've been up since 1 a.m. I might fall asleep on camera. Well, that would be funny, Jen. That would be funny. It'd be like Simon earlier, nobody there. I think it's a really interesting subject. And like I said, I really would like to have done that course on hypnotizing people into regression. But reading that book, I might have a go on one of my daughters. Lady Knight says, what's this? Miss Honey, on some level, surely we must be the sum of all previous past lives. Yeah, we must be. Lady Knight says, one thing I found out is that the things from the past let things in this life make much more sense. Yes. Yeah, because when I found out that I'd had 2 previous lives where I died by water, that kind of explained why I had this fear of water, because I could never place why I was scared of water. But when I'd found that out, then it all kind of made sense to me. I understood why. It'd be fun though, Jen, to see you falling asleep, sort of sliding down your chair. Yeah, do you remember when Channel 4 used to do that? How many times would people be sitting there watching all the Big Brother contestants asleep in bed? And it'd be on all night, wouldn't it? You've had training in hypnosis. Yeah, you can then go on to do a course in past life regression, Claire, and there's not that many people that I found here in the UK that do past life, and they're quite expensive. I think it's something like £100 a session to have that done. I got a thing with family dynamics and how they influence my life and decisions in each life. Have you tried a meditation once you've done your reading to get more insight on your past life? Yes, Cosmic Witch, that's one thing I'd have done as well. And I do find that really, really helpful. What about you, Lady Knight? Is that something you do? Just got to take a puff of me e-cig. I mean, I do believe like that, you know, deja vu is very much something that's connected to a soul remembrance. You know, when you've gone somewhere that you've never been before and you feel like you've been there before, but you don't, you know, you haven't. I think that's all part of the soul remembrance. Don't think we've got those round here, B. Spiritual Society of Great Britain. We've got the spiritual churches here where they do like medium readings and what have you, but they none that do past life. It's healing and mediumship usually. That's a shame, Lady Knight. I think for a long time past life regression was viewed as entertainment. Yeah, I think so, Miss Honey. But actually when you do go into past lives, you do get a lot of answers about what's affecting you in this life. And there's threads there specifically asking how that your present life is connected to that past life, you know, what lessons that you brought from that life that you need to lead at this life and vice versa. And I found out quite a lot of interesting stuff. Claire 5 says, we had to hypnotize ourselves. Wow, there's a couple of great. Yeah, I've seen a few, Becca. I saw one where a young girl, she'd given permission for the regression to be put onto video to record it, and she remembers being chased through a wood and hit over the head, and it works out as the story unfolds, she was killed. This was how she died, and she'd got a young child, and she would try to escape from this village. And this village had classed her as a witch because she worked with herbs and what have you. So they classed her as a witch, and because she'd used these herbs to make a child better, but because this child got better with her help, they classed her as a witch. And her best friend dobbed her in basically and said, well, she made my child better, so she must be a witch. and her father killed her in the end, so the people from the village didn't get her. It was really sad and fascinated. Yes, Becca, is that the one where he met up with an old gentleman who he'd actually been in the war with, and they shared memories together? That was really interesting, that one. And I think the sister of the deceased man who he was reincarnated from said that he knew so much and was so much like her brother that it had to be him. It was really fascinating. Cosmic Witch, I have had a weird experience of remembering my past life when I was doing yoga, and it was literally like I was back there. I don't know where I was when I came back to the present. I bet that was, but then yoga is kind of like a meditation, really, isn't it? I got like that myself when I've done Reiki healing on myself, self Reiki, because I'm a Reiki practitioner. So I've not done it for a long time, but when I used to self heal, I very often go into that meditative state. Yeah, sorry, Wendy, you're losing it, are you? Yeah, we're just talking about, you know, whether or not you think that you've lived before and that you're not just here the once, and when you die, but we believe that there's other lives that you live again, that when you die, you don't actually die, you just kind of move on to the next level, and then you get the choice to come back in another lifetime. Hope that makes sense. You saw the boy, did you, Singing Moon? It was really fascinating, wasn't it? He says, one evening after a late shift, my husband picked me up from work, driving past the Victorian houses that we routinely passed. I looked along the road and heart flipped. It felt like home. Yeah. Have you looked into the building to kind of see if there was any connection? I kind of got that feeling with this house I'm living in now. And I would like to do some kind of reading or something on this house. And this is a Victorian house. Such a fleeting moment, but the emotion I felt was so very real. Yeah, exactly. And that's what I said about, you know, those deja vu moments. I've got a little fly keeps flying around. I don't know where they're coming from, but I think it's now the weather's getting warmer. I felt a yearning to be there. A few nights later, we went past again, and I felt nothing. You know, isn't that strange? No, you'd think once you'd felt it, but then I suppose in that second, your soul remembered that, and it was so fleeting that it's gone again, because we're not supposed to remember too much, are we? That's what they say. Lady Knight said, do you believe that you go through lives in a linear way, or that you can go back and forth on the timeline? No connection. Yeah, Lady Knight, I believe that we wait for our soul, all of our soul family to be gone as well. So I don't think that one of us comes back without the others. So I believe that we all kind of wait for every one of us to be gone, of that soul family, and then you come back as a soul family again once everybody's passed. So that's what I believe. But there's a lot of people who do think that lives run sort of side by side, don't they? You know, that there is no sort of time in that. It's sort of just like an energy field. Yeah, exactly, Jen. Time is man-made, isn't it? Yes, to soul families, Miss Honey. Yeah, that's what I believe, that we have soul families. Lady Knight of Avalon, but when do you think you could all go back to ancient Egypt, for example? No, No, I don't think so. I think we choose when we're going to come back, don't we? So I think sometimes we don't probably want to come back. I know that when I'd done my regression, the 2 lives that she pulled out of me, one was in the Second World War, the First World War, sorry, as a soldier. But the one she said to go back to before then, so go back to a life before that one, and that took me way, way back. And it looked like I was a monk or something on an island, and it was really strange. And after I come out of it, the way she explained it, she did say this island, but I can't remember where it was.
Okay.
But she said it sounded like I was an early Christian monk kind of thing, come over to sort of spread the word, sort of thing. It was really strange, but that would have been like centuries before. So if before that lifetime, my last lifetime.
She said again.
Have you read Journey of Souls by Michael Newton? No, is that good, Cosmic Wedge? Fascinated by multiple dimensions, but not sure I feel it in relation to past lives as such. This is probably going to sound silly, but does deja vu come? Yeah, I believe it does, Naomi. I believe that when we get that deja vu, when you get that feeling of knowing somebody, being somewhere, feeling something, there's something in what connects to a soul, and that soul remembers it just for that split second, as Miss Honey said earlier about that building. And I think that deja vu, I mean, you read stories in books and that what I've read where children have said, I used to live there, when they've gone past somewhere that they've never been before, and the mum and that are like, what are you talking about? But when there's actually been looked into, everything this child has said actually went on a century before or what have you. Yet there was no way of them knowing that. I mean, YouTube is full of really interesting stories on people who talk about how they think they're being reincarnated by certain people and they've been able to trace it. Other people have not been able to trace who they originally thought they was. There was an interesting one at the minute. I don't know if any of you have seen. She's a lady who, I think she's in the 30s, 40s. She dad said that she was this particular lady in a past life, and this lady's children are still alive, and they swear blind that this is them would have been reincarnated. It's very strange. Hi, Earthy Taurus. I'll take more notes in the future now, Naomi. Yeah, you get lots of deja vu. Yeah, yeah. Take notes and see what it is, what makes you, whether it's particular kinds of buildings or an area or whatever that is, what makes that deja vu to the king, and see what the link is. Adjusting the soul back to the between life states and what the experience is. This pretty sure it's on Amazon. Oh, maybe if one of the mods can find a link to that, then that would be great as well. Funny as if I get deja vu, it always comes with a sense of something having gone wrong in the past, if that makes sense. That's probably why you're getting the deja vu, Jen. Maybe wants you to look more into that. So that is something that I would probably try to do more looking into. It's usually conversation in certain places, Naomi. Yeah, it's definitely worth jotting it all down and seeing if there's a link between all the moments you get it, or in the same area, or the same, discussing the same subject, or what have you. I just find it, the whole thing, fascinating, but the more I learn, the more I want to learn. That's the problem. It's like never ending. But then I think that's like most things in the spiritual side of things. The more you learn, the more you want. Yeah, I do think so, Miss Honey. I do believe that. Thank you for that, Naomi and Lady Knight. I'll have to have a look at these links afterwards and go on a spending spree. I don't need no more tarot decks, but I do need to get a couple more books. And that workbook that you mentioned, Lady Knight, is a definite that I must get as well. Because, like I said, and the idea that you said about the cards, that is a great idea as well. So do any of you actually work with ancestors as well? Do you believe that there's a link between you yourself and ancestors that lived previous? The reason I ask that is when one of my daughters, my second daughter, was born, she was born in 1989. I called her Emily. I wanted to call her Emily, and if it was a little boy, I wanted to call her Nathan. No idea why. They weren't names that was even around then. My first daughter, Lucy, was an old-fashioned name too, but I wanted Emily or Nathan, and that was in 1989. I done my family tree, started to do my family tree in 2004, and my great-great-grandmother was called Emily, and I didn't realise that. And her dad was Nathan, which I didn't know nothing about that either because I hadn't done my family tree. And when I actually got to see a picture of my great-great-grandmother, Emily, she looks just like my daughter, Emily. It's very, very strange. I'll have to try and find the photographs out to show you. But I will have to find these photos. Even my daughter said herself, wow, I mean, it was very strange.
Emily Hall.
Yeah, her name was Emily Hall, my great-great-grandmother, and my daughter's Emily. I also show two spreads that link more than one life together in one of my videos. I'll have to take a look at that, Lady Knight. Do you find, Lady Knight, that you do more work on past lives than you do actually any other kind of tarot spread? I do. I mean, I do more past lives or ancestor spreads than I probably do normal tarot spreads. Saying hello, Mr. Patsy. His name's Michael, and he's an Irish old git. Yeah, I'm sure there is, Miss Honey. Somebody did send me a link, and I've got it on Kindle. No, not on Kindle. I believe it's on Audible. I just haven't got round to listening to it yet. But there's quite a lot of books, and there's quite a lot out there on ancestor work. Jen says, my husband had an imaginary friend with an odd name. When the family tree was done, it was a family member who drowned at 15. I remember you saying something about that, Jen, on one of your videos. Yeah, I do remember saying hello, Michael. Lady Knight of Avalon, for myself, I am always more invested in past lives. The rest I try to figure out intuitively. Yeah, I was told that my son was an Indian in his past life. Would this be true? Could well be, Wendy. Could well be. Yeah, we don't stay the same same ethnic group. You know, you can be something completely different. Something completely different. You can be what you are. Once you're back at your soul, you choose to come back how you want to come back. Hi, Dusty Blonde. Nice to see you here. I'm doing good. I hope you're well. I bet that was really fascinating, Jen. But they do say that, don't they? I know my nephew, when my granddad died, I know my nephew, he kept laughing and it was under his bed, and he sort of said, what are you doing in that? And he said, I'm talking to Granddad. And he swore that his granddad was there and he was having conversations with him. But my grandson does that as well. My grandson, he gets visited quite a lot, and my daughter has got cameras all in the bedrooms for the children. And you see orbs flying all over the bedroom when he's actually sitting up in his bed talking to them. A couple of nights he got scared about it, so she had to make curtains around his bed, his bunk bed, so that he could sort of block them out because it scared him. He's 5, just turned 6 actually. They are really interesting when you really get delved into them, Miss Honey. They really are. And like I said, I think most of my tarot nowadays does tend to be more towards that than anything else. And there's so much to kind of research in that as well. But yeah, my grandson very often comes out with things that he couldn't possibly have known. He's been talking to my dad and his own granddad, because my first husband, he died of cancer about 5 years ago. And he speaks to him all the time as well. It's very strange, but he does. You're very interested in this kind of subject as well, are you, Dusty Blonde? Yeah. Yeah, I think it's something that a lot of people do be interested in, but don't always voice it. I mean, I don't know anybody in my life except my daughter who believes in this sort of thing. Do you know what I mean? In my everyday life. And if they do, they haven't spoke about it. So it's interesting to speak to people about it. Dusty Blonde says, yes, my brother used to, when he was young, talk to my great granddad. Yeah, I think that's quite usual, isn't it, with children, because children don't dismiss out of hand, where adults very often do, don't they? They do kind of dismiss it. Children don't question it. Lady Knight, I'm interested in finding out about my karma to make sure I work on it and not bring it back the next lifetime. Yeah. Yeah, that's something I'm working on as well.
Little boy.
Every time that I've done readings, more often than not always, but more often than not, it says that my reason for coming back is being a mother. And I think from some of the past lives that I've done, I wasn't very good. So I think that's one of my things, to come back and do it properly. Naomi says, my grandson talks to my mother-in-law. Yeah. Yeah. And the trouble is, when they do this, if it's not something that, you know, that the parents are interested in, they tell them that they're imagining it and it's an imaginary friend and not to be silly and all that. But I always found the best way is to kind of allow them to talk and to explain who that person is and what have you. And I find that is more comforting for the child, having these visitations, rather than thinking that, you know, that they're wrong and they're silly. I would love to read past lives from my man, but he is not into it. No, some people aren't, are they? It's a shame. I mean, my husband wouldn't get a choice. If I wanted to do a past life reading on him, I would. Wendy, my granddaughter, was asleep on the sofa one night and I was sat beside her and she sat up and said, your mum is with you, but it was not my granddaughter's voice, it was my mum's. I bet that was really, did it freak you out, Wendy? I can imagine it probably freaked you out, but it's lovely. I think that's lovely. Jen says, when I was pregnant, my grandma was told by a random stranger that I was a girl and I was going to be grandma's sister who died at birth. My daughter had strongest connection at the age of 2 to her after she died. I was told by a random stranger that it was a girl. It was my grandma's sister who died at birth. Wow. I see, these kind of things fascinate me. They really do. My grandmother's always around me, B. Always. I've been told my nan is by my side all the time, watching over me. Yeah, my nan is as well, Dusty. She don't leave me alone. Whenever I go for any kind of medium readings or to connect with spirit, she's there. She's always there. She sometimes moves out the way for other people, but she's normally there. That is amazing, though, Wendy. It really is. It's not very often that, you know, the voice changes and everything as well. But that is, to me, that is a sign of a connection of them, you know, to prove to you that life does continue, that it's not over when a body's finished. Do you know what I mean? It does continue. We're more than a body. The body is just like a clothing. Do you know what I mean? It's just the clothing we wear. Hi, Simon. We're just talking about some past lives, Simon, and whether you're into it and whether it interests you and whether you know, and I know you yourself, you do, because I know you, didn't you do one with the awakening cards and something to do with being in India and a beggar? Was that them cards that you did, Simon? I had a dream that my grandfather, who had passed before I was born, had never seen my photos of him. After the dream, I asked my mum if she had photos of him, and it was him. Yeah, I've heard that too, tarot lady. But don't, you know, that is, to me, when things like that happen, is just proof to me that life is continuous. Do you know what I mean? It's all, we're all energy, aren't we? Yeah, great memory, me. So on some things, not always. Lady Knight says we are energy, and energy only changes form. It doesn't just disappear. Yeah, that's what I believe as well, Lady Knight. Dusty says, I've went to a medium 20 years ago. Someone wrote loads of stuff down, names, places, and believe me, a lot has come into my life in the last 20 years. She got nothing wrong. Wow, that's great. Hi, evening light with Father. I haven't seen you before, so hi and welcome. Yeah, it's amazing some of the things, you know, that come out. It really is. You know, I know before I met my second husband, I just split up with my first husband actually, and I phoned one of these hotlines because I was lonely, I was fed up, so I found one of these hotlines, and they telling me about this man in my life, and I was saying all these things, and he come from Ireland, and he lived in a little island in Ireland, and fishing and driving and all this kind of thing, and I come off thinking, do you know what, I've just paid all that money for a piece of rubbish. I couldn't take nothing. 6 months later, I met Mike, and it wasn't until I got to know him probably a few months later and whatever that I realised this is the man that they was talking about. Everything fitted him. It was really, really strange when I realised that. Really strange, and that was 6 months before I met him. You've changed your name. Oh, your father. Oh, right, you've just changed your name. Yeah, lovely name as well. I changed my name too. Yeah, so you was yeah, I remember Father. Have you done any more reading, Simon, or was that the only one you did? Or did you look further into that one? I had a vision of my son when he was around 18-ish before I got pregnant with him. He looks exactly like my vision, but only a toddler version at the moment. Oh, that's lovely. That's lovely. I love hearing things like this. To me, it's just proof of, you know, that we've been here before, and there is something, there's in that in-between stage. I'd love to know what that in-between stage is, you know, when we've left here and before we come back again, what we do in that in-between stage. I would love to know more about that in-between stage. You've done a few, Simon. I always find them so insightful. Yeah, I do too. There's always some kind of connection with what's going on in a life. You have no kids, Father. Can you believe it? I've got 7 kids, but I'm 3 at home now. Do you have a specific thread you use, Simon? Like I said, the whole thing absolutely fascinates me, I must admit. Well, I know Simon has got the Awakening Fire memory. I remember him having that, but I don't know what other decks he uses. But Simon, Miss Honey was saying the Gypsy deck, you know, that Gypsy deck, the Fortune Gypsy deck, might be worth using as past life reading, and that would probably be a good idea because of all the old-fashioned imagery and names of the people. That could be quite interesting to use alongside the tarot. I'm going to have to try that. So, Lady Knight, what other decks do you use then? Do you just use your Stretch and the past life cards? Are they the, you know, the Orchids publishing ones? Are they the only 2 you use? Yeah, me too, Miss Honey, but I really can't. I'm really got going soon because Becca will be on at 9. I mean, anything to do with past lives and spirit connection and all that kind of thing, it's something that's fascinated me for as long as I can remember. And I don't know why. The first time I saw a famous medium over here called Doris Stokes, I think I was about 11, and I saw her on the television, and I just knew she was telling the truth. And it was like, I just knew, you know, I didn't question what she was saying. It was just like she was saying something that I already knew. It was very strange. Yeah, I saw that, Simon. Very sad. Well, I didn't see it. Said he told me. Yeah, very sad. You're very sporadic with the live chats, Lavara. History and stretch. Yeah. I'm going to have to sort out something about them art history because they did look really, really in depth. They really did look in depth. Yeah, Sadie told me about Diane. Very sad. So is anybody going to try some different spreads? I'm going to buy this book that Orchid Publishing have done, and the other one that was it Cosmic Witch? Was it you who said about that other book? I shall have to get that one too. Yeah, I hope she is as well, Farah. Are you going to start looking more into it, Naomi? Is it something that you're going to try to start looking more into? Yeah. I didn't know Diane that well. She was on my Facebook, but I don't think I ever sort of spoke to her personally or privately. But I know Besedi did. Yes, you're going to overthink it now and just try. Yeah, try not to overthink it, Jen. Just try it. Just find yourself a spread and just pull some cards and don't try to read them as the Six of Cups or the Three of whatever. Just let your intuition guide you with the images and what have you. You're enjoying the No Grow and Let Go spread. Yeah. She was really good at astrology. Didn't realise that she was ill. No, although I did know she went well. Going to look at those books, Miss Sunny. Yeah, me too. And I'm going to check out those videos that you said as well, Lady Night, that you did. I'll have to look at them tomorrow and take a look. But hopefully Amazon won't be too long in delivering the books. The problem is at the minute they're not making priority. And then we've got Easter coming up as well. So, but hopefully. Yeah, don't overthink it, Jen. Just lay some cards and just let your intuition just play with them. Just kind of and write it down and then go back to it and just sort of see if there's anything what kind of clicks and makes sense to you. You'll be surprised. You really will be surprised. I'm off to get your tarot decks out now. I've got lots of ideas and influence this side. That's great, Cosmic Witch. And I hopefully see you again. I'm going to be getting off here in a minute as well. I've been on for just over an hour and I need to get prepared ready for Becca's chat. Becca going live at 9. Night, Wendy. So thanks for all for stopping by. It was really interesting to talk about this. Every week I'm going to be doing these chats. I might just kind of continue with this theme next week and go on more, you know, hopefully I've had the book by then or done some more spreads, or you may have tried some spreads and what have you, and kind of bring in more of that spirit thing. And I will find those photos of my daughter and my great-great-grandmother, Emily, and show you what I mean, and pop them up so you can see them. Thanks all. It was really fun and nice to be able to talk it to people who are on the same wavelength as me and not somebody who just looks at me as I'm thick. But yeah, so hopefully see you all again next time and we'll carry on with this kind of discussion, and I will bring those photos along to show you what I mean. So thanks for stopping by and I will speak to you all soon. Is Becca not on tonight, Simon? I thought she said she was coming on tonight. I could have sworn she said that she was coming on tonight. I will have to go and find somebody else to watch, won't it? Simon, you'll have to go back on live. Or Ikali, you'll have to. Or no, because Jen said she was going on after Becca. I'm sure she did. Oh, I don't know. I'm probably losing the plot. Ignore me. Yeah, lovely to chat to you all. Thank you all for coming. It was, oh, it's Robin's monthly one. I'll have to go on that one. I've never done on Robin's, so I'll pop on that one. So I will speak to you all Thursday. I'll be back Thursday. Thursday, this time Thursday before Simon goes live with his Throwback Thursday. Yeah, so I'll be back Thursday. So thanks for all stopping by. It was lovely to chat to you, and I will speak to you all soon. Bye.